I'd like to start with the decision of 3 Te Pāti Māori MPs to defy Parliament and their collective refusal to attend a Privileges Committee hearing this afternoon into their allegedly intimidatory and disorderly behaviour, and I don't think that should surprise us. That 2 of the 3 are the co-leaders of Te Pāti Māori, Wari Waititi and Debbie Ngarewa suggests a politicised defiance of New Zealand's parliamentary institutions. In short, they don't care. As a political organisation and grouping, they simply don't care what the white parliament wants, thinks, or how it's going to act. They are there to impose their own te ao Māori tikanga, as defined, of course, by themselves, upon the representative assembly of all New Zealanders that pays them, provides them with their status, and ultimately protects them from their profligates and their profligate spending from public view. In short, these people are racist hypocrites, quite prepared to use violent and intimidatory language against other members of Parliament that they dislike and whose ideas they oppose, but demanding from the same institution the rights and privileges that provide them with financial and political cover for whatever cause or whim they might pursue. Make no mistake, Te Pāti Māori's defiance, its demand even that it must not have any of its MPs held to account for their actions, is not simply an act of racist rebellion. It is the beginning of the end of any semblance that this group observes any authority but its own. Ironically, this rebellion is couched in very colonialist, very British, very Western terms. There isn't a hint of indigeneity in their objections. They argue that they are being tried individually rather than as a group, that they are being denied a fair hearing by the Privileges Committee, that they are having restrictions placed upon their Western legal representation, which just happens to be Chris Finlayson. Now remember that name for the rest of infamy. Chris Finlayson, the former treaty negotiations minister for the National Party and one of the real problems in terms of race relations in this country. Chris Finlayson, he's representing them. Paid for by the New Zealand taxpayer, I might add, and it doesn't also allow them, and this is their other objection, their ability to present their expert, a witness, a so-called tauhanga, a New Zealand academic expert on tikanga, knighted in 2020, Tapo Temara, who will explain to the ignorant Pakeha sitting on the Privileges Committee why Pakeha rules don't apply to Te Pāti Māori in Parliament. Now, everyone who saw the incident that led to this particular hearing will have seen the same thing. At first, a theatrical display of opposition to the ACT Party David Seymour's principles of the treaty bill, followed then by an aggressive, eye-rolling, escalatory display of hate, anger, and intimidation. They left their seats, their parliamentary seats. They walked across the aisle, these 3 Te Pāti Māori MPs. They advanced directly upon David Seymour, and rising above that seated parliamentarian, they gesticulated in such a way that no one could misunderstand their purpose. This was a visceral dislike and disregard, and that's why they're in front of the Privileges Committee. Now, Te Pāti Māori leader Debbie Ngarewa has condemned the Privileges Committee hearing as, quote, now listen to this, an ongoing tyranny of the majority against Māori representation. Well, I'll say that again. An ongoing tyranny of the majority against Māori representation. This isn't being couched as a Te Pāti Māori versus Privileges Committee. This is now a white versus Māori issue. She's claimed that Parliament has no right nor cause to challenge her interpretation of Māori tikanga, and that she and her colleagues can do whatever they will if they self-sanction their actions as being the Māori way. These are the tactics of the mongrel mob, not of the marae. And it's no coincidence that aggressive antics and intimidatory behaviour by the mob against the individual is exactly what Te Pāti Māori MPs practised on that shameful day in Parliament. These, make no mistake, are Māori mobsters, not members of Parliament. Now, Parliament will, of course, react. It will no doubt sanction the members of Parliament. The sitting will carry on without them. And at the very worst, it'll suggest that they not come to the House for a couple of days when, hilariously, it's their current practice to really attend at all. Meanwhile, the Te Pāti Māori MPs will add another imagined grievance to their armoury, another white colonialist transgression to propagandise and sell to their hateful cult as if, and not David Seymour, and they will scale up the rhetoric, the blame, the distaste, and yes, the hate against any that might oppose them. Ladies and gentlemen, these MPs and their party are the brown fascists of our time, of New Zealand. They use exactly the same tactics as fascists and brown shirts did everywhere almost a century ago in Central Europe. We've seen this movie before, and it doesn't turn out well. And there's another lesson, appeasement. Oh, and fellow travellers like Chris Finlayson, appeasement to such anti-democratic elements. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It just provides another step into the sanctuary. It removes another brick from the wall of decency and democracy that protects us all. A fascist is a fascist is a fascist. If it walks like a brown duck, if it looks like a brown duck, if it quacks like a brown duck, we all know what it is. Those are my thoughts this morning. What are yours?